Whether this coronavirus is created by the system or by the heavens, it's forcing us all to do either two things. Do we continue the way that we are until there is no more businesses left and everyone blaming each other, fighting in the streets for bread and water, survival of the fittest, with the National Guards armed to do as the system directs, while the internet slowly is removed with no connection to know what's happening in other cities? You have the Asians who's been in our neighborhoods for generations now, and for the majority, we all are still left with, how have you helped our communities over all these years? Pointing fingers at the system, at the police department, at the politicians, because it's not really their fault anymore. It's ours, because we failed to be accountable, versus point fingers at who we should continue to blame. And we've been pointing fingers with no solutions for how many decades and generations now. We've accepted the status quo and upset at our children and their children because they choose not to. According to the current federal data available, there are 1,787,607 small businesses registered in Texas. Unless you have a year of rent saved up, or unless you believe that your landlord would give you a year off of paying your mortgages, most would be affected. Let's discuss how many of those businesses will lose their home. Let's discuss how many will lose their jobs. Why do we always wait till it happens to us? Why would I vote you into office if you can't work to change the 13th Amendment? Did you know that the U.S. leads every country in depression? We're relying on a system to keep us employed, just enough to survive the hate that they carry due to the inner pain that we transfer to them. They're talking about how we gave up, the bullying, the pointing fingers at others because of the unhappiness we see in our own mirror, the loud screaming, slamming of doors, cabinets, the uncontrolled anger that leads to blackout, and then abuse. They realize something that we can no longer hide from them, and that's the inability to change a system that they can see will never work for them. Why are we still sitting around waiting on a system, a person, a part of the system, to assist us when we're capable of assisting ourselves? Now all businesses are feeling the heat. Maybe, just maybe, this is God's way of holding us all accountable. Make us all take a look in the mirror. There is a way. Did you hear me? You can do whatever you want to do. Only you have not had that person to empower you and share that you are worthy, that you are important, that you are purpose and destined. I am not speaking to you today without solutions of where we can start to hold each other, to hold the community accountable, so that I'm Gregory Bernard, and I'm demanding that you vibe with me. We have no choice, family. And though we are a dysfunctional family, and we have been for ages, our tribes of all types must be accountable. Self-accountability. Accountability meeting accountability. This is not about arrogance, but solutions we've been failing to hear in part to our own arrogance. No one is innocent. And the question remains, why are we still sitting around waiting on a system or a person, a part of the system, to assist us when we're capable of assisting ourselves? Our children and their children are looking at us as though they respect us, but has lost all respect for us because they see the failure and the fear in us that they want no part of. And as we continue to point fingers at our youth, the Generation Z, the millenniums, they've stopped believing, but we've stopped believing years ago. Again, we're afraid to share our fear because we see no way out, as though our children can't see us within. They realize something that we can no longer hide from them, and that's the inability to change a system that they can see will never work for them because it's not working for us. No matter how hard we work or attempt to do the right thing, it's not working. So this is our opportunity for those who can be honest with self to start to listen versus the complaining, the marching, the tap dancing around the truth. Let's discuss first mental illness. There's a documentary, it's called 3 Identical Strangers. Please watch it. It's dealing with mental illness and showing that it's hereditary, and if one who hasn't mental illness connect with one who does, this of course increases the population, similar to some of the responses we see and hear on social media. And now it's everywhere. You may say, how? So if I can get the hottest girl whose body doesn't reflect mental illness before we connect physically, and we make babies, and then afterwards, because I didn't take the time out to get to know her, realizes during pregnancy that there's mental health concerns, it's no fault of hers. Though this increases our chances of increasing the population of mental health concerns, adding to an already infected social media population. It's vice versa. Same with some of us guys. Let's go both ways. So in today's society, it's practically impossible to miss due to the lack of education and self-discipline that we all possess, and most of all, the self-accountability, not to mention all of the traumatic experiences most of us have encountered all of our lives, in part to abuse, depression, rape, molestations, the things that we hide in our closets, the things that causes us shame, and we're left with various stages of mental illness and pain we failed to disclose. But based upon research, to combat mental illness or treat it properly, one has to operate in their purpose, do what they love to do, have the freedom to do it without the hassle of everyday life and the depression it brings, the bullying, the pointing fingers at others because of the unhappiness we see in our own mirror, the loud screaming, slamming of doors, cabinets, the uncontrolled anger that leads to blackout, and then abuse, the excessive drinking to drown out the past, the excessive drugs to prevent from feeling, overeating, the loss of appetite, unexplained shopping, the misuse of credit card, the popping of medicated pills to medicate our feelings, the constant fighting and arguing that our babies are constantly witnessing as we transfer our anger into them, which leads to black on black violence. And as we smile once we close the door to our dysfunctional family, joining strangers as we leave the pain behind those closed doors and fill closets, only to repeat it after the 9 to 5. It's time to go back home. Let me say this to you. There is a way. Did you hear me? You can do whatever you want to do. Only you have not had that person to empower you and share that you are worthy, that you are important, that you are purpose and destined. And maybe, just maybe, it took all of this for all of us to see that we can, we shall, and we will. There is a way. There is a way we can make this possible, and we're going to explain how. This means if one with mental health concern does what they love to do, it's an effective treatment for their minds. Did you know that the U.S. leads every country in depression? Why do you think this to be? Because we're not doing what we're purposed to do. We're relying on a system to keep us employed, just enough to survive, and just enough to pretend and have people think that we're doing better than we are. So much so, where it's also keeping us divided and against each other, though we're all in the same pot. So now you see the Generation Z and the Millenniums who are acting out with their chemical imbalances due to hereditary and the food that we're teaching them to digest, the hate that they carry due to the inner pain that we transfer to them. They're talking about how we gave up and subconsciously became a slave to a system that still abides to the 13th Amendment. You know what the 13th Amendment says, right? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. And what jurisdiction is that? When you have a prison system with blacks is 5 times more the rate of others, which profits off of unpaid and underpaid labor, and the mental and physical abuse, the mental anguish. And we wonder why our youth are wondering why we're voting without the tangibles, without asking those who are representing us, what will you do regarding the 13th Amendment? Isn't this where it starts? Why would I vote you into office if you can't work to change the 13th Amendment? I am not speaking to you today without solutions of where we can start to hold each other, to hold the community accountable, so that our children and their children can see that we do have some kahunas left. We're not pointing fingers at the system, at the police department, at the politicians, because it's not really their fault anymore. It's ours, because we failed to be accountable versus point fingers at who we should continue to blame. And we've been pointing fingers with no solutions for how many decades and generations now. We've accepted the status quo and upsetted our children and their children because they choose not to. We haven't left them with any tools, but we're telling them to follow the system that's not working for us. We fail to be rebuked unless it's by our own pastor, parent, or boss who pays our salaries. Can I be real here? Can I? So let's discuss how. According to the current federal data available, there are 1,787,607 small businesses registered in Texas. Let's discuss accountability. Let's discuss this coronavirus. Let's discuss how many businesses are now affected and will close their doors within the next 2 weeks, next 2 months. Let's discuss how many of those businesses will lose their home. Let's discuss how many will lose their jobs. How many already lost their jobs? How many more will add to the homelessness when most are only a paycheck away from not being able to pay their bills? Why do we always wait till it happens to us? Why is it we have a hard time being proactive and listening and hearing? Why is it we can't do anything unless a celebrity, athlete, politician, bishop, or pastor tells us first? Have we lost the ability to think for ourselves? The creativeness that God Himself has given versus the criticism of the Pharisee. And some of us, so far into mental illness, when we actually get upset with those who believe in accountability. Have we all forgotten that we don't have to like each other to still survive as a unit or a US, whether that be us or the United States? As we continue to see our next generation suffering, as we turn our heads away, trained only to want the best for our own child or children, with no regards for the others. Here are solutions. Accountability meets accountability. Vibe with us. Doesn't matter your race, your gender, your whatever. This is about the U.S., us, or the United States. It's up to you. Now, you have the Asians who's been in our neighborhoods for generations now. And for the majority, we all are still left with, how have you helped our communities over all these years? Now all businesses are feeling the heat. Maybe, just maybe, this is God's way of holding us all accountable. Make us all take a look in the mirror. Whether this coronavirus is created by the system or by the heavens, it's forcing us all to do either two things. Do we continue the way that we are? until there is no more businesses left and everyone blaming each other, fighting in the streets for bread and water, survival of the fittest, with the National Guards armed to do as the system directs, while the internet slowly is removed with no connection to know what's happening in other cities? Or do we listen and be on one accord with a plan that sustains us all as an example to the other states? Unless you have a year of rent saved up, or unless you believe that your landlord will give you a year off of paying your mortgages, most will be affected, as some are already infected by the coronavirus. Again, there are over 1 million businesses in Texas. It's time we all share and live off of residual earnings versus the 9 to 5. And this goes for small business owners as well. We're providing a product we can all own. All of our lives we've been taught to buy versus owning. So the first thing we see is what we can afford versus profit sharing. Let's go back to school real quick. Do you have the time? Can we go there together? Like really? That's all we have now, right? But isn't it running out? Let's go back to elementary. All of us. Imagine your son, daughter, in elementary, where the average attendance is 475. If your 7-year-old decides to start his or own Vibe business, which package would you choose for your child on a referral system? Let me help you. Now keep in mind that 2 referrals means whatever you invested initially is no more, meaning you're no longer paying a cost for your startup business, but now receiving profits per referral. Okay, I kind of help you, huh? So if you had an entire elementary school, parents, students, staff invested in the $4.99 package, and everyone at your school is educated to do the same, now your child is a young entrepreneur with his or her own business as early as 6 and 7, and is now bringing home $2.50 to $350 per additional referral. Vibe just created opportunities for 475 students to now have their own small business, guaranteeing a profit through profit sharing simply by referring. I didn't say a 9 to 5, simply by referring. Now just imagine if every school, private, or public, or university, does the same thing. Yeah, it's a you scratch my back, I scratch yours approach. So which package would you start with? If everyone was on the same page, which package? Now why would I not say yes if my classmates would say yes and do the same thing and guarantee to make profit? This is no multi-level marketing. It's your product. It's how many you refer, only it's residual. That means monthly. We can now buy our own clothes, right? You're in the elementary school. When the last time you've been able to buy your own clothes, shoes, food, and provide resources to assist mom on her bills? You know, mom always said when you finish college, do what you can to help mom. But if we can say, mom, we can help you as early as elementary, we must think residual, people. Same as the powers that be versus spending till we get paid again. It's called financial literacy. And most of us were pointing fingers at the athletes for going broke for spending all their money when we're doing the same thing, each paycheck with much less. Once the public is educated, everyone wins. You may only have $4.99, and that's okay. Start there and refer the $99 package. Your profit is $45 a month, or the $59 package, and your profit is $25 monthly. It doesn't stop. Become your own boss as early as elementary. No difference than trading baseball cards or having your own lemonade stand. We challenge others to do the same. It's not just for small businesses. It's not just for referring small businesses. It's for the community. Residual earnings means it never stopped raining. 9 to 5 means when the coronavirus hits your city, we are at the mercy of the system. Aren't we tired of being at the mercy of the system, depending on a system that hasn't yet helped or don't have the answers, while continuing bickering each time we turn on our lie, vision? Then what are we waiting for? Can we afford to take a chance in the right now? Do we have that much time remaining? How vibe cards and residual work. Community empowerment. Empowering our community small businesses through our youth, the parents, community, educational institutions. This means when a youth club, a parent, nonprofit organization, educator, or even a small business owner walks into your establishment asking you to let's vibe, which is brand new business, virtually integrating businesses everywhere, say yes. And for those small businesses who do not and who does understand the effectiveness of monthly branding, which simply means support from your community, set aside a small budget that you can afford monthly. It's a small necessity for our community and for our success as a community. So go to www.umyourcards.com. Your monthly memberships creates unlimited jobs and resources. And if you want to be extra special, you can give away a product or service or even money once monthly. That also provides additional branding power to your business. That means one person in the community wins that prize monthly. That's giving more eyes to your business. And it's so much that you get for this. So much that you get in return. This guarantees every business who participates a social and mobile presence, which is what your business has been looking for anyway. Inexpensive monthly branding. The packages that you're receiving cost over $5,000, and we got packages from $19 and up monthly. This means hundreds to thousands of more eyes on your business weekly. That means that's a positive cash flow. Monthly hosting, a social media platform where you can communicate with your clients, chats, save contacts, forward cards, video commercials, testimonies of your products and services. And you're recognized as a community supporter. Register today. Everyone, register today. Even if it's the $4.99 package, register today. Someone else will be receiving residual each and every month. This is your company with the 1,700,000 and some thousand businesses. This can empower all of our businesses as well as our homes to where we no longer have to compete. Do the numbers yourself. Numbers don't lie, they only multiply. Vibe with us as we vibe together as a community. Assisting all of us who at this point in time needs it badly. Oh yeah, one more thing. Go to umyonetwork.com and click on the 100K giveaway. We need 1 million to donate $1.25 monthly. We didn't say a week, monthly. If you choose to do more, great. You will see what we will do with those earnings. Everything is on the website. It's on the page. We have two options. We can continue to trust what simply isn't working, or we can begin to trust what is common sense, what's right there in your face. Don't be brainwashed or programmed to give only to those organizations where 90% is going to the staff, the payroll, and not into our communities, our children, and their children's future depends on our decisions today. You're smarter than that. Did you hear me? We are smarter than that. Let's show them that despite race, despite creed, because we're all in the same pot, we can see that now, right? Accountability meets accountability.